Hello and welcome to Hidden Video Game Details, the series that aims to show you the things that you may have missed in your favourite games. In today's episode, we try to scare Kratos in Mortal Kombat 9, we learn that we're going to need a bigger boat in Sir Whoopass, and we discover a very sad troll in Oblivion Remastered. As always, if you think you know of a hidden detail or Easter egg that I haven't covered before, then let me know in the comments. And if you do enjoy these videos, then leaving a like is really appreciated. Anyway, without further delay, let's get started. Right, let's begin today's video with the Cabin Factory. Now, the Cabin Factory is kind of like a game of Spot the Difference. You know, except way scarier. You see, you have to investigate each cabin and try to spot anything out of the ordinary. I mean, if I'm honest, nothing about this entire scenario seems ordinary, but let's just go with it. If you do think something looks out of place, you need to run out of the cabin as quickly as you can, and press the danger button. Rinse and repeat. Now, I know that sounds really simple, and that's because it is. But there are moments in this game where you will question what you just saw. I mean, here is footage of me being so scared that I shook my mouse around a bit and then just stopped playing. Now, as you might expect, the Cabin Factory does have one or two jump scares. Or at least it does when you toggle the option on. However, turning jump scares on might be scarier than anything the Cabin Factory has to offer. So turning jump scares on will cause you to get jump scared, which isn't very nice. Still, at least you can go back to checking cabins, which is totally not scary. So in the last episode of this series, I said that Sir Whoopass was going to be one of those games with loads of things to find. Because there's going to be loads to find. See? I did say that. Well, it turns out I was right, as Sir Whoopass is full of tiny details that some people may miss. Now, one of the collectibles in Sir Whoopass are pieces of cheese. These dairy treats can be found all over the game, but there is one piece of cheese that may not be worth the trouble. Here, take a look and see if you can spot the red flags. I mean, where do we even begin? First, we have the very convenient warning sign that seems to hint that a piano may be involved, though the more eagle-eyed among you may have noticed that we can't see a piano. Yet. I mean, the fact that the cheese is placed on top of a red X should be another red flag, but you know what? It's a collectible. I'm sure it'll be fine if we pick it up. I mean, let's be honest, what did you expect to happen? Luckily, if you're quick enough, you can pick up the cheese without the piano caving your head in, which is a sentence that I never thought I'd have to say. Now, I love it when games think of inventive ways of stopping you doing things in games. Well, in Sir Whoopass, your knight can't swim. Let's just say it's because of the heavy armour. So if you're a developer, how would you stop a player going for a dip? Well, you use warning signs that show sharks may be in the water. I mean, the water doesn't look deep enough for a shark, so let's see what happens if we take a swim. Okay, so perhaps we should start paying attention to the signs in Sir Whoopass, as this is the second time ignoring one has resulted in death. So, a big selling point of the latest console generation was that games were going to load faster than ever, meaning we could say goodbye to loading screens. I mean, I'm not sure that was entirely true, as most games do still have loading screens, but at least the loading screens in Sir Whoopass are funny. Instead of the usual boring loading screens that you get in most games, here are just some of the loading screens I've seen in Sir Whoopass. Oh, and I just noticed when editing the video that one of the loading screens says that the reason that your knight can't swim is because the devs couldn't afford a swimming animation, which explains the sharks. Now, if you've been following this series for a while now, you'll know that I have a special place in my heart for games that demonstrate good trigger discipline. For those that don't know, when holding a gun, you aren't supposed to have your finger on the trigger unless you're ready to shoot. Some games include this to show that a character is experienced, or in the case of the Silent Hill 2 remake, they show James with his finger permanently on the trigger to show his inexperience. sights. Though if I was James and I was exploring Silent Hill, my finger also wouldn't leave the trigger. Anyway, in Battlefield 2042, you can't really see if your character has their finger on the trigger or not. But there is a way to tell. If you aim down sights, you can see your character will move their finger from a resting position and onto the trigger. When you stop aiming, they will then take their finger back off the trigger and rest it. I mean, this should be expected in a military shooter, but I still find this detail really satisfying. Now, despite being called a remaster, there are certain points in Oblivion Remastered that would make you think that it was a full-on remake instead. The game has been given a very shiny coat of paint, and in some places it can look pretty damn impressive. For proof of this, I'm going to stare at a fireplace for 30 seconds. You see, the fire in Oblivion Remastered looks good, but then again, a lot of games do good fire. Well, what makes the fire in Oblivion so cool is that every now and again, the fire will spit out glowing embers. I know this is a really small detail and isn't exactly going to set the world alight, pun intended, but I still think it's really cool. Something else that is much improved in the remaster are the lighting and shadows. I mean, watching the light shine through a stained glass window looks nice, but seeing that same pattern on the floor looks even nicer. Now, you may notice that you can see your character's shadow on the floor too. I mean, it's 2025, nice shadows have been a thing in games for ages now, so it shouldn't be that surprising. Well, if you drink a chameleon potion, this will happen. So because you're invisible, you don't cast a shadow. I know this seems pretty obvious, but honestly, who would have noticed if this didn't happen? The final Oblivion detail is the tragic story of an illiterate troll. At this location on the map, you can find this. So it's a dead troll, which in a fantasy RPG is about as common as a Hades 2 mention in my videos. Well, if you search the troll's body, you can find a note, a bottle of wine, and some troll fat. So much for dying with dignity. Anyway, if we read the note, we can see that the troll was having a hard time getting people to pay the toll to cross its bridge, something which is obviously very important in the troll community. Not being able to scare people or to command a toll, the troll felt worthless and decided to get drunk and died by drowning. I mean, it's a pretty dark story when you really think about it, so let's not think about it too much. Now, in the last episode of this series, I shared a detail from the Binding of Isaac, where if you entered a room with half a heart of health, Isaac would wet his non-existent pants. Here's the thing. Loads of you told me that if you had the kidney stone item equipped and did the same thing, the results would be even worse. So instead of pools of pee, it's now pools of blood on account of the kidney stone. For those that don't know, a kidney stone is a hard object formed by chemicals in urine, and they can range from the size of a grain of sand to the size of a golf ball. Luckily, there are treatments available that can reduce the size of a kidney stone, because the only other option would be to have it pass through your urinary tract, which sounds very painful, hence the blood. Right, let's end today's video with Mortal Kombat 9. And not just any Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat 9 on the PlayStation Vita, which holds up surprisingly well, even if I don't know why Johnny Cage looks like Johnny Cage from Temu. You see, Mortal Kombat 9 on the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Vita lets you play as Kratos from God of War, which is really, really cool. I mean, sure, Kratos has popped up in Fortnite since, but appearing in a game where he can be torn limb from limb isn't something you see every day. Though his appearance in MK9 did come with some rules. Here, take a look at this fatality performed by Ermac and pay close attention to Freddy Krueger's reaction.
Ermac wins. Flawless victory.
So, quite understandably, Freddy was terrified after being shrunk down in size before being stepped on. Well, let's see how Kratos reacts.
Ermac wins. Fatality.
So instead of acting scared, Kratos is defiant, still trying to fight Ermac even though he's now tiny. This was apparently something that Sony requested. They didn't want Kratos showing any fear, so certain changes to certain moves had to be made. Another example can be seen when performing Johnny Cage's fatality. Here it is against Kano.
Watch this. And the award goes to...
Johnny Cage wins. Flawless victory.
So the good old karate chop to the head, followed by an award shoved into the gaping hole where his head used to be. A classic Mortal Kombat fatality. Well, here is what happens when performing the same move on Kratos.
Watch this.
Johnny Cage wins. Fatality.
So the same chop, but no statue. Which is kind of funny. I mean, why the statue was the point where Sony drew the line, I don't know. Still, it's a really cool detail and something that I'm hoping that a lot of MK9 players didn't notice. So that's it. If you know of any cool things in games that you think I should check out, then please leave them down in the comments. Big or small, obvious or not obvious. If I think it's cool, I'll include it in a video and of course credit you like these people here. Remember, we are trying to reach 1 million subscribers, hopefully this year. So if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and helping me out. As always, thank you all for watching and I'll speak to you all soon.